Hello everyone. Let us talk in today's session about two special types of hybridizations, and they are sp3d and sp3d2. Clear? sp3d sp3 hybridization we have also already discussed in case of methane and ethane. Clear? But here you can see there is involvement of d orbital. So how that orbital gets involved? So for that we will take the example of PCl5, that is phosphorus pentachloride. Now in phosphorus pentachloride, phosphorus is the central atom, and as we know it is always the central atom which will undergo hybridization. Clear? So here phosphorus in its excited state, it is having atomic number 15. So in its excited state, its configuration is neon 3s1, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1 and 3d1. Clear? So in short, in phosphorus, whether it is a ground state or the excited state, its valence orbit number is 3. And we know that when the principal quantum number is 3, then there are 3 types of orbitals present in that orbit, and these orbitals are s, p and d. Clear? Orbitals belonging to the same orbit, they have very negligible energy difference. As we know, s orbital is always lower in energy compared to p, and p is less in energy compared to d. But as we are talking about phosphorus, in which the principal quantum number of the valence orbit is 3, and so there are 3 types of orbitals, s, p and d. Clear? And these 3 orbitals, 3 different types of orbitals, but they belong to the same orbit, that is the third orbit, and that is why there is a negligible energy difference between these orbitals, and so they can easily undergo hybridization. As we also know that for hybridization, the orbitals to be involved in hybridization must have either same or almost same energy. Clear? So here this is possible in case of phosphorus. Now you can see in case of ground state of phosphorus, the configuration is 3s, in which 2 electrons are there. Then in 3p, 3 unpaired electrons are present, and 3d is vacant. Clear? But in PCl5, phosphorus has combined with 5 chlorine atoms. We also know that in bond formation, it is always the unpaired valence electron which will participate first. Clear? So in phosphorus, in the ground state, it has only 3 valence unpaired electrons. So it can form, from the ground state, it can form only 3 bonds. Means the molecule can be PCl3, phosphorus trichloride. But we are talking about phosphorus pentachloride. So for pentachloride formation, phosphorus must have 5 valence unpaired electrons. Clear? In the previous lecture, we have also discussed that according to the valence bond theory, it is not always the unpaired valence electron which will participate, but sometimes the electron pair will also be utilized in bond formation. So here is the case. The electron pair which is present in 3s orbital will be made unpaired. Clear? How? When phosphorus is given some amount of energy, then one of the electron from 3s orbital will be excited to 3d orbital, which is already vacant. And as the energy difference between these 3 orbitals, 3s, 3p and 3d, it is very less, so they can easily overlap, they can easily intermix, they can easily hybridized. Clear? And so as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 atomic orbitals of phosphorus are involved in hybridization. So 5 hybrid orbitals will be produced, and these 5 hybrid orbitals are symbolized by sp3d. Clear? There is involvement of 1 s orbital and 1 d orbital and 3 p orbital. So it is sp3d. So total 5 orbitals are involved in hybridization. So 5 hybrid orbitals will be produced. Now these 5 hybrid orbitals, how they are arranged? So out of 5 hybrid orbitals, 3 are arranged at the corners of an equilateral triangle, making the bond angle 120 degree between them. Means here you can see 3 orbitals out of 5 sp3d hybrid orbitals, 3 are oriented along the 3 corners of the triangle. So the bond angle between them will be 120 degree. Clear? So this bond angle will be 120 degree because it is a triangular arrangement, and remaining 2 sp3d hybrid orbitals of central atom, that is phosphorus atom, they are arranged perpendicular to the plane of the molecule. So one above the plane of the molecule, one below. We also know that whenever the bond angle is 120 degree, the structure is planar. So here the bond 120 bond angle is between phosphorus and these 3 chlorine atoms, and that is why these 3 bonds, these 3 orbitals of phosphorus, they are in the same plane, they are planar. Clear? But the remaining 2 sp3d hybrid orbitals of phosphorus will be at 90 degree. They are perpendicular to the plane of the molecule. Clear? So it is like this. This is one plane in which 3 hybrid orbitals of phosphorus, they are lying, and the remaining 2, one above the plane and one below the plane. So they are perpendicular to the plane of the molecule, making an angle of 90 degree. Clear? So this is how the 5 sp3d hybrid orbitals of phosphorus are arranged. Now in these hybrid orbitals, these are these orbitals, before accepting the electrons from chlorine, phosphorus will first mix up all these 5 atomic orbitals. Clear? So 5 atomic orbitals will be mixed up and sp3d hybrid orbitals will be produced. 5 sp3d hybrid orbitals will be produced. Clear? Now these 5d sp3 hybrid orbitals of phosphorus will overlap with pz orbital, atomic orbital of 5 chlorine atoms. Clear? So here also in this molecule formation, PCl5 formation, phosphorus will utilize hybrid orbitals, but 5 chlorine atoms, they will not undergo any hybridization, but they will utilize their pz orbital, in which there is one unpaired electron present. Clear? We also know that when pz orbital is involved in overlapping, then also there is always maximum overlap, so sigma bond is formed. Clear? So here chlorine will utilize its atomic orbital, but phosphorus will utilize hybrid orbital. Clear? So here involvement of hybrid orbital and involvement of pz orbital of 5 chlorine atom, both will favor the strong bond formation, both will favor maximum overlap of orbitals. Clear? So here you can see in phosphorus, see with green I have shown the electron, unpaired electron of chlorine, and red arrow, they are the unpaired electrons of phosphorus atom. Clear? And this is the arrangement of 5 PCl bonds, phosphorus chlorine bonds. 3 phosphorus chlorine bonds are arranged trigonally, making an angle of 120 degree between them, and remaining 2 are perpendicular to the plane of the molecule, making an angle of 90 degree. Now here this perpendicular bond is known as axial bond because it is along the axis. Clear? And these 3 bonds, they are towards the corner of the triangle, so they are called equatorial bonds. Clear? So in PCl5 molecule, there are 3 PCl equatorial bonds and 2 PCl axial bonds. Now the electrons of this axial bond will experience more repulsive force by the equatorial bond electrons. I repeat, electrons of axial bond will experience more repulsion by the electrons of equatorial bonds, and that is why the electron pairs of these two axial bonds will tend to keep themselves away from the equatorial bond, and in doing so this axial bond length will become longer. So axial bond, both the axial bonds will be longer than equatorial bond, and if the bond is longer then it will be weaker also. Clear? Larger or bigger is the bond length, weaker will be the bond. So compared to 3 equatorial bonds in PCl5, 2 PCl axial bonds are longer and weaker, and that is why PCl5 is a reactive molecule. Clear? So this arrangement, these axial bonds, they are responsible for high reactivity of PCl5. So you can be asked in exam in 3 marks question that explain sp3 dehybridization with suitable example, or explain hybridization and geometry of PCl5 molecule, or you can be asked that PCl5 is a reactive molecule. So then also with the diagram and the bond length, bond angles and explanation of axial and equatorial bond reactivity or their bond length values, you will have to give your answer. Clear? So this is very important topic. It can be asked in 3 marks or it can be asked in 2 marks for give reason. Clear? Now let us go to one more type of hybridization, and it is sp3d2. Here you can see, compared to the previous one, there is one more d orbital involved. Clear? So this is observed in case of SF6, that is sulfur hexafluoride. Now sulfur atomic number is 16. Its configuration is neon 3s2 and 3p4. Clear? D orbitals are vacant, but in the excited state it has configuration. See, one electron from 3s orbital. So this is 3s orbital, these are 3p orbital, and these are 3d orbitals. Clear? So with little gain of energy, sulfur can send its one electron from 3s orbital to 3d orbital, and one electron from 3p orbital to 3d orbital. So now you can see that in excited state of sulfur there are total 6 unpaired valence electrons, and here also, as these orbitals, they are 3s, 3p and 3d, they all belong to the same orbit, that is the third orbit, and that is why they have very little energy difference. So these orbitals, total 6 atomic orbitals of sulfur, will undergo hybridization, producing sp3d2 hybrid orbitals. So these orbitals will also be 6 in number. So 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals will be produced by central sulfur atom. Clear? Now in this sulfur atom, these 6 orbitals are arranged like this. 4 of them are at the corners of the square, and remaining 2 are perpendicular to the square. Clear? So we can say that these 4 bonds, 4 SF bonds which are directed towards the corner of the square, they will be in the same plane. Clear? But the remaining 2, they are perpendicular to the square, and that is why they will be at 90 degree. Got it? So here you can see in SF6 molecule, red arrows are the electrons of sulfur in its excited state, and green arrows are the unpaired electrons of fluorine atom. In fluorine also, the last electron, unpaired electron, is present in px orbital. So in SF6 molecule formation, there is overlap of 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals of sulfur and px atomic orbital of 6 fluorine atoms. So that is how the resulting geometry will be octahedral. In this, every angle will be 90 degree. Clear? Now here you can see this is the square. Above the square there is one pyramid and below the square there is another pyramid. So this can also be known as a square bipyramidal. Here it is a trigonal bipyramidal. On above triangle one pyramid and below triangle there is another pyramid. So there are it is bipyramid, and on the triangle these bipyramids are formed. So it is called trigonal bipyramidal. So in PCl5 the geometry is a trigonal bipyramidal and two different bond angle values are there, whereas in case of SF6 the geometry is octahedral and every bond angle is 90 degree. Clear? So there is involvement of one more d orbital in case of SF6. Now, as I told you in the previous lecture that you have to remember one table which is given. So in that sp3d2 and d2sp3, these two types of examples are given. In sp3d2 SF6 is given, and in d2sp3, for example CONH3 6 times, this type of ion or this type of example is given, +2 charge like this. Clear? So why it is so? Here ammonia is considered as stronger compared to fluorine. Clear? And that is why whenever the central atom is bonded to the stronger molecule or stronger negative ion, then it will always have D2sp3 hybridization. Means inner d orbital will be involved in hybridization. Clear? In case of SF6, fluorine is a weak molecule or it is a weak ion. F minus is a weak ion, and that is why it will utilize the outer d orbital which is available. Clear? So this you will study next year in detail, so don't go in much detail, but here only to make you understand why there is difference. What is the difference between these two types of hybridization? sp3d2 matlab 3d 3p and 3s 3p and 3d orbitals are involved, but d2sp3 means 3d 4s and 4p orbitals are involved. So inner 3d orbital is involved in hybridization of central atom. Clear? And this is possible only when the stronger molecule is attached to or it is bonded to the central atom. Clear? So this is all about sp3d and sp3d2 hybridization in two different types of molecules. Both the topics are very important for 3 marks question. Clear? So don't skip them. You have to learn them thoroughly with all ground state as well as excited state, and in the molecule all the 3 types of electronic configuration you will have to remember, geometry as well as bond angles also, they are very important. Clear? So with this we will end today's session. Now in the next session we will go for molecular orbital theory, in which we will focus on the linear combination of atomic orbitals, that is LCAO. Clear? So this is all for today. Thank you very much.